turning our cabin in the woods here into a full-sized house. And the first step has been to hire a friend of mine with an excavator to basically turn the place into a war zone. Now, the soil here in the forest is full of roots and lots of rocks. Most of the rocks he's been able to move, but we've just hit one that's absolutely massive and that his excavator can't budge. So we're going to let you in on the battle that I'm going to pose against this massive rock. Hopefully we come out on top. Our strategy is going to be splitting this massive rock in half so that my buddy with his excavator can move it in pieces. And the first step to that was to make a line down the middle, which I scratched into the rock with a sharp shard of stone, and then drill holes as deep as I can into the rock along that line, all in a row with each other. So this is a DeWalt rotary hammer drill, a masonry drill, and I've got a 1-inch bit on it, about 8 inches long. So I'm drilling down as deep as I can, the full 8 inches along that line at regular intervals, roughly every foot or so. I should mention, this rock doesn't look as big in the video as it is in real life, but it's at least 6 feet wide and probably 12 feet long, maybe 18 inches thick. Too big for my buddy's small excavator to move in one piece, like I said, but these holes will give us the chance to split the rock in half if things go well. So that's why I have to make sure that the holes are spaced closely enough and that they're all in exact alignment with each other. You can see here as I'm working through the drilling process that my buddy's still working away with his excavator, removing the dirt from what will be the footprint of our addition on our cabin in the woods. The drilling is taking a while, but surprisingly, this rotary hammer, this DeWalt tool, is one of the faster masonry drills out there. It's actually faster than other ones I've used. I'm just working on that last hole here, finishing that up, and I've got, I think, 6 holes in total, spaced, like I said, every foot or so, going across the width of this stone. And now that all the holes are drilled, I'm placing stone-splitting wedges into each hole. There's basically 3 pieces of metal that I'm putting in each hole, 2 kind of slanted wedges facing each other, and then a straight wedge in between those 2 slanted wedges. The idea is that the straight wedges will be gradually pounded down by me using a hammer, and they will force the pairs of slanted wedges out and push the stone apart, and gradually applying more and more pressure under the blows of my stone hammer. You can see the slanted curved wedges here, and I'm just placing the straight one into the middle. That's the arrangement. So now it comes down to using the stone hammer. 1 or 2 hits per wedge in sequence along the line of holes that I've drilled. And this is the stage where things get tiring. I mean, it was fairly tiring using the rotary hammer to drill all those holes because it's a big, heavy tool, and it takes a lot longer than it appears in this video. But swinging this pretty heavy stone hammer with enough force to actually pound these wedges into this 18-inch thick monster rock, even for a guy like me who works out regularly, it did certainly drain the energy. But it's also satisfying to feel those wedges slowly sink lower. And what you're looking for at this stage as you pound the wedges is a sign of a split beginning to appear in the surface of the rock between those wedges. And so far I'm not seeing anything, but if you keep your eyes closely peeled on the area where I'm hitting, the line where those wedges are, you'll start to see a split begin to appear as I start to gain dominance over this rock. The idea of what I'm doing here is repeated hammer blows on the central wedges, and sure enough, it's starting to work. You can see that a line is starting to appear there. A crack is opening up between those wedges, connecting the holes that I've drilled to each other. And that's a sign that this stone is giving way under my hammer blows. The wedges are doing their work, and even though they're only penetrating down a fraction of the thickness of this stone, it's enough to, the combination of holes and wedges is enough to split this massive beast. And you can definitely see it splitting now. It's opening right up. The crack is pretty straight thanks to the straightness of the holes I drilled, and here it is now fully split. I've pounded the wedges down all the way. So now it's time for my friend with his excavator to pull the two halves apart now that we've done that, and hopefully his machine is up to the task. Yeah, you can see here that the first half is definitely separate from the second half, and it's actually moving under the power of the excavator, but it still remains to be seen whether or not he'll be able to pull it out of the footprint of our building, because it's still a pretty massive piece of rock, as you can see, just comparing the stone to the excavator. There it is opening up, and now you can see that it's fully split right down the middle, and you can see how thick this thing is too. I'm just grabbing my wedges out of the remains of the holes I drilled before my buddy pulls the rock some more, and I don't want to lose these wedges. They've been in the family a long time, and they're precious, and I've done a lot of stone splitting with these, as has my father before me. That sounds like something from Star Wars, but anyway, the stone has been defeated. It's been split in half, and since my friend's excavator was able to move the first half, it's a pretty safe assumption that he can move this second half as well. Sometimes it takes a while to move these massive stones out of a hole like this, but you can see here he's now able to do it because we've reduced the size and the weight of this stone by 50%, which is exactly what we were hoping to do. If we needed to, we could have split it even more, split it into 4 or 3 or something, but luckily his machine is up to the task now that it's been split in half. And now there's no massive stone filling our foundation footprint. We've defeated it. The battle was a long and hard one. It took at least an hour of tough work, but now we can continue with our addition, connecting our cabin in the woods to a new building. Thanks very much for watching this video on how we finally defeated this massive monster stone that was here where the footprint of our new building is going to go. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, give it a like, share it with your friends, and subscribe to Cabin in the Woods for lots more interesting adventures like this one.